listeners, happy Friday to you. You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of Mental Breakthrough. Thank you so much for tuning in to listen to today's show. So remember, there are several ways to tune in to the show, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Acast, or YouTube Podcasts. But either way, thank you so much for listening because without you, remember, there is not a mental breakthrough. And I'm your host, Zandy Evans, licensed marriage and family therapist, practicing virtually throughout the state of North Carolina. Now, if you are a first time listener, welcome. And just to give a brief summary of what the show is all about. So, here on the Mental Breakthrough Show, we discuss pain points as a way of unlocking growth within ourselves. Because remember that when we commit to living as our best selves, we become our best selves. Now, in today's episode, it's a good one for you guys. Have you ever wanted to better apply the principles that you gain from talk therapy into a hands-on learning experience? Well, that is just what we are talking about today. In just a few minutes, we'll be inviting our guest, Rhonda Cimorelli, into the studio to discuss equine-assisted learning and the work that she does as a life coach. Now, equine-assisted learning is an experiential or better yet, a hands-on approach where you build personal and social skills through guided interactions with horses. So if this is something that interests you, make sure you stay tuned in. But before we jump in, let's make sure we shout out our sponsor, Built for Mental Wellness. Now, Built for Mental Wellness is providing therapy to individuals, couples, and families in a virtual setting throughout the state of North Carolina. You can grab that free consultation to start your therapy journey at builtformentalwellness.com or giving a call to 252-751-0243. Now, without further ado, let's begin today's show by inviting our guest, Rhonda Cimorelli, into the studio. I am so excited to have her here. Hi, and welcome on this beautiful Friday.
Good morning, Sandy. And it is beautiful here in Eastern North Carolina. Thanks for having me.
Oh, most definitely. So thank you again for coming into the studio here. We've got you here because our topic today is really talking about starting to integrate that therapy experience, but also with that experiential learning component. And you do some really amazing work. So I wanted the listeners to get a chance to be able to know more about you, what you do. So I'm going to kick it off with just asking you a little bit more as far as telling the audience or our listeners who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So my name is Rhonda Cimorelli, and I am the owner and founder of A Balanced Life for You. Funny enough, I started my journey back in 1990 with Mary Kay. I had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old on my hip, if you can imagine. And 10 months later, baby number 3 joined the mix. And 15 years later, we welcomed our miracle baby number 4. And while building that business and raising kids, I learned firsthand what it takes to lead and juggle and grow, as most moms know how to do, but not just in business, but in life. I eventually rose to the top 2% of leaders, and I earned one of those company's highest honors, one of those career cars. But what I discovered after all of those years is it wasn't about the skincare. It wasn't about the lipstick. It wasn't about the business. It was really about building women, building communication, connections, their self-worth, their self-esteem. And even though today I bring those same leadership principles infused with emotional intelligence into my coaching practice, and I was honored this year with 3 different awards, including the Youth Development and Leadership Excellence Award. I love helping families and teams grow stronger together. That's pretty much me.
So thank you so much for sharing that. I've had the opportunity to be able to talk with you, network now for a little while, and I've just enjoyed being in your presence and being able to really learn more about what you're doing, your vision, your mission that you're doing seems so important and is honestly so needed right now in this day and age as far as trying to bridge the gap with women and feeling more empowered with our busy lives, our busy schedules. So I love to dive in. I wanted the listeners to know a little bit more about you that as far as like the horsemanship and the things that you're doing on your farm, you do, I believe it's called, is it equine-assisted learning?
Equine-assisted learning, yes, ma'am.
Equine-assisted learning is what
Mhm.
you're doing, and you're telling me that this experience was also something that's trying to help you bridge the gap, not just for women, but going a little bit younger as well, as far as looking at adolescence.
Well, it's funny. When I moved out to this part of the state, I found my ideal property, my dream property. And I always had this vision about community and value. And I just wanted to bring a sense of connection because where our world is going, we're all behind screens. And even us, the adults and the kids, we're behind these devices, right?
Mhm.
And I could recognize the disconnection. The internet and the World Wide Web brings us closer, but yet we're so far apart. And when I'm here at the property and with the farm and the animals, I find this sense of peace. And I felt like what I wanted to do was have an opportunity to bring this to other people, to bring this to my community, to bring this to my clients. And I started out working with the kids because my daughter, if I may just go back just a little bit, my daughter had a horrible experience actually. We had homeschooled, we had a very intimate group of kids. I made it a point to make sure she had friendships and groups to hang out with, like-minded people. And after several years of being in this tight-knit group, something terrible happened. They began to mimic her and mock her and bully her and even threaten her behind her back inside a private thread of text messages. And one of her friends called her the attention. And quite frankly, Sandy, the work that you do, could really have heart for this. It devastated her. She spiraled into a severe, deep depression. She had already been dealing with unidentified health issues, which was setting her apart. No one understood. And she couldn't figure out why she was being made fun of. And when I addressed this to the 4 parents who were involved, my heart broke because I asked them to use this as a learning opportunity for us to work on our conversations, our communication, because I know that whatever we learn in our youth, we bring through into our adult life. And only 1 of 4 parents acknowledged that. And it was at that point in time I realized this is not a me problem. This is not my daughter problem. This is a society problem. This is a community problem. So I took everything that I knew, everything I had learned, my experience as a parent of 4, and combined them. And I started working on a process for teenagers to help them look within and identify who they are, who they want to be, right? The be, do, have model, not backwards. And over a few years, I began to integrate this into horses because what I started observing were horses mirror us. Holistic horsemanship lessons go way beyond traditional lessons. I had so many people asking me, do you do riding lessons? Do you do riding lessons? And I was like, no, I don't. But I realized that the beauty of horses, the power that they hold, the energy that they bring to us is priceless. And I wanted to bring this into the community and infuse the work that I do with them. So that's how holistic horsemanship lessons came about. And we do so many other things here on the farm.
I'm so glad that you shared that.
Yes, ma'am. I love working with teenagers are my sweet spot these days. I've been working with adult women in business for about 12 years, and I shifted to work with both high achieving, stressed out moms who are a little frustrated raising those moody, emotional teens. And I also work with those teenagers. They can be here at the house, or rather the farm, with the horses and integrate these principles, or they can be online virtual. So we try to make a mix of whatever works best for that family, because wouldn't you agree, each of us are individual and each of us have some individual needs.
Absolutely. That's very, very true. And, I had the opportunity to come out to your farm and participate a little bit in some of your coaching and some of the programming that you're looking to continue to launch here. And I just have to tell you, just trying to be able to have this experience and describe this to you listeners, right? Like this is really different, especially for someone who, like myself, I'm not a farm life type of girl, so that was something totally new and something I never experienced before as far as being around horses or being around the barn cat, which was, fun as well for me. So this was a new experience. So Rhonda, I just would love for you to share a little bit as far as when you're talking about coaching and we're integrating things that can feel really therapeutic, but this very experiential experience with being on the farm, and how do you see connection for those two things? Because honestly, if that wasn't something I had just fully experienced, it wouldn't click in my head the way that it is. So can you help the listener who's having a hard time connecting with how does this therapeutic experience also connect with going and doing different things on the farm or interacting with the horses there?
Those are great questions. And Sandy, I was so happy that you came out. I love watching your facial expressions. And that right there, I think I understand it's really hard to explain this. So for your listeners, here's what I would like to share a story. I have a lot of stories. For every now and then, I will do team building fun sessions. And what that means is we have 3 to 10 teenagers that show up. And as I said, they come out to this farm. You've seen it. It's beautiful. It's peaceful. It's open. It's not a farm in the sense of plantation. We have horses here. We have several pastures and white vinyl fencing, and we have an open concept barn and a covered arena. So kind of put that visual for all of your listeners. And the teenagers, when they come over, I love it because first of all, they don't know what to do with themselves because they don't have devices to plug into, because that's one of the first things that we do is we disconnect from all that busyness, right? And I had an experience one time where we had 2 groups of 3. It worked out beautifully. We had 3 boys and 3 girls. And that particular time frame, we had some small feeding enclosures or round pens, if you will. And their job was, as a team, I said, you're going to identify, go look at all of this, see how it's put together. All right, see what's in here, because we're going to move this structure over here. We got to disassemble it, take it apart, move it over there, and put it back together. Okay, and we're going to do this in a race. And what amazed me was I gave them clear directions, and I said, do you have any questions, any concerns? Ask now or forever hold your peace, kind of thing. And they were like, oh, I got this, right? And then they went to do their task. So they all walked around the enclosure, and it was quite interesting to me because they were befuddled. Like, what is this? They couldn't figure out how it was put together. And times like this make me go, wow, if it's in a book or if it's online, right, we can figure it out really quickly in theory. But this was real time. This was thinking outside the box. This was real problem solving that they had to do. And they had fun. It was laughter. They managed to do it. The girls were faster than the boys. And to wrap this little experience up, the girls moved everything. The boys had left out the water container, the water trough. And they came back, they're like, oh, we're done. And I said, well, what about the water? You know, the horse needs water in its new enclosure. And they were like, oh. And I watched them go over there, big and strong, to lift up this water trough to carry it over. And the girls and I were giggling because they were getting wet. They were getting soaked. So the one boy who has been in my house several times, he was kind of flustered. I said, what's going on? He's, well, I'm all wet. I said, yeah, I see that. What caused that? Well, you said to move the water. I said, well, actually, I asked you to move the water trough, the container. I said, nothing about carrying 50 pounds of water. We can always refill that. And he had this look on his face like, oh. He's like, oh, so you mean I didn't have to soak my boots? I was like, no, you really didn't. So it's these kinds of experience that honestly bring me a lot of joy. I get a kick out of helping them think outside the box. So that's one story. Thinking about your experience, for example, as parents, we have a tendency to, I'll say, encourage, kind of almost push our kids out to go try new things, get a new experience, meet new friends. But oftentimes, parents are not really willing to go out and experience those new things also. We forgot what it feels like to be uncomfortable. We forgot what it feels like to have to go make new friends, but yet we push our kids out there to do that. So one thing, we're not truly leaders. We're not leading by example because I'm not doing it. So a true leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, right?
Oh, I
So
love
when I have
that.
adults come out, just like yourself, you're a little intimidated. And what we have to recognize are those feelings, how it changes our body, our physiological changes, how we get the butterflies, the tightness, maybe the sweaty palms, maybe my armpits, my breathing changes. And we as adults have a tendency to go, I'm good, I can pass this off. But when we work with the horses, you saw, they respond differently. They respond very differently. So it's not like we can put on a facade, which we do in our society with other humans. When we work with horses, there is no facade. They're going to call you out right then and there. And it's a beautiful experience because just like the day that you and your friend came, we're not calling you out specifically. We're saying, he's not behaving a certain way. Let's see if we can get him to behave or respond differently with you. So let's work on changing my energy, because that energy is connected to all of us. And when we can learn that my energy affects this 1,200 or 1,000-pound animal, I'm more aware and understanding how I can shift that energy at home. So my kids respond better to me, or my parents respond better to me. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that answers it beautifully. So this is what I will do. We're going to pick things up with Rhonda in just a few moments. We're going to go to a quick break, but you guys don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Mental Breakthrough Show. Are you suffering with overthinking habits, uncomfortable thoughts or feelings? And are your relationships struggling because of it? Talk today with Built for Mental Wellness. Built for Mental Wellness provides therapy online to individuals, couples, and families across the state of North Carolina. For more information, go to builtformentalwellness.com and sign up today because wellness is at your fingertips. Welcome back to the Mental Breakthrough Show. I am your host, Zandy Evans. We have a special guest in the studio. This is Miss Rhonda. And right before the break, we were just talking more about today's topic, which is really integrating that therapeutic experience with that experiential learning component. And I want to pick things right back up. So one of the things that we were really just discussing before the break was trying to help our listeners have a better understanding of what is it like to have that experiential experience. I wanted to ask you more about your programming, specifically sharing a little bit more about what your programs are and who's it for.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for asking. And as you can tell from the last segment, I get very passionate and excited about working with people, teens, adults, interacting with the horses, because equine-assisted learning is just it's so powerful and it's so peaceful at the same time. So I offer many different programs. And as I said before, the reason for that is because we're all unique and we all have some different needs. But ultimately, it comes down to just a few things. We want to become respectful, responsible, resilient. As parents, we want to feel confident in our parenting. We want to feel like we're able to launch our kids out so that once they hit that 21 where they're fully adults, we know that they are competent to get a job, have relationships, take care of themselves, take care of their families. And those are some of the things that we want. Where I do a lot of my work is here at the farm, which is called Heartland Estate. It's in eastern North Carolina, just outside of Greenville, North Carolina, not South Carolina. We're about an hour and a half from the Raleigh area. It's an easy drive because I used to live over in Raleigh for a while. And what I do here at the farm, several different things. We offer holistic horsemanships, which we kind of briefly talked about. And that's an opportunity to work with 880. Doesn't matter who you are or what you do. If you're looking for an experience, if you need disconnection, if you need to reconnect with yourself, if you're going through a time in your life where you're experiencing unwanted stress or anxiety or fear, whatever's going on, this will help you to disconnect and reconnect with yourself. And you're going to learn some fun skills. We don't do riding, although I do put you on a horse eventually if that's what your goal is, but we do everything on the ground because we are working to become the leaders of our own circle. And when we can lead ourselves, we can lead our families. And when we can lead our families, we can lead our friends. So it has a ripple effect. Another program that I offer is I offer individual one-on-one, one-to-one coaching. And that is for the client who perhaps lives too far away, but they know that there's more that they want in life. Or perhaps she's a parent of a teenager who is struggling with anxiety, depression, withdrawal. And I work with them, as I said, as a dual market here. We're going to work with parents and teens to help them identify what's going on and become aware of the problem, understand it, and then help them make a decision, create new habits. This process is called the Bridge Method. So the Bridge Method stands for, it's become aware, reflect and take responsibility, initiate intentional change, develop emotional agility, grow together, empower, and evolve. So that is simplified of the Bridge Method.
With your programming, you have a different modalities that you're covering from some of the more virtual options. And then you're also able to have your experiential learning on the estate. My main question, I would say, at least now, for our listeners, where can they find you? Like if they want to be able to sign up for some of these programs, where can they reach out to you or contact you to get more information about it?
For the listeners who want to know all about everything, you can go to my Linktree address, which is the linktree.com/Rhonda Cim, C-I-M. But if you're looking to get just a little bit more information, maybe you'd like to learn a little bit more about holistic horsemanship, or you'd like to learn more about team building or team for the small business owner, you can go to my website, abalancedlifeforyou.com. We have all kinds of information on there as well. You can learn a little bit more about me, my background, and of course, some of the wonderful things that my previous clients have said and why they love working with me.
Awesome. So thank you so much for letting everybody know how to be able to contact you. And honestly, you guys, there's a scope of different things that's there for you. She's giving you ages from 8 years old to 80 years old. That means that, it's really almost across the lifespan here. And what you're doing is having a better chance of connecting with yourself. So from here, just tell us a little bit of some of the clients that you have worked with. What are some of the ways that you've seen them transform over time?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm trying to think, where do I even start? Well, as a matter of fact, let me share a quick story about a family I had worked with not long ago. I had a mom who reached out to me because her 16-year-old son had basically checked out. You know what I mean by that. He used to be driven, football, gym, on a roll, part-time. But over time, he started withdrawing. The gym totally stopped. And he used to be really, jacked up. Homework? Well, he was only doing a bare minimum. And he went to the phone and gaming, and it was a constant problem. And every time his parents tried to talk to him, it turned into either silence or blow-ups. I bet you don't know anybody who this happens to, right?
No, I cannot even name a one, he said sarcastically.
Nope. All right. I mean, poor kids have never done this. But his mom said something very interesting. She said he just wants instant gratification. She said she didn't even recognize him anymore. So when we started working together, we didn't force motivation or even take things away, which is the common go-to for parents, right? They're like, oh, well, if you're going to do this, I'm going to take it away. What we started to do was we started rebuilding safety, and we rebuilt communication between all of them. Like I said, it all starts as the hub. It's a nucleus. And the shift, well, it came in small, unexpected moments. And one evening, this was the part that made me smile. One evening, Jacob, he walked into the kitchen while his mom was making dinner. She didn't lecture. She didn't pry. She didn't try to fix things. She asked one question. She said, rough day or regular day? And he paused. He leaned over the counter and said, rough. And she said that was the first real conversation that they had had in weeks. And from there, they slowly began rebuilding. They started having more of those side-by-side conversations. They had fewer head-to-head confrontations. They had more moments of connection instead of that overcorrection. And within a few weeks, he was back at the gym. It might have been more than just a few weeks, but he was back at the gym because he wanted to be, not because anyone was forcing him. And you know what? That's what it is. When kids feel seen, not judged, that motivation can return.
That's a beautiful story. It gives so many things that as a therapist, I definitely encourage for families to be able to do together, which is making some type of quality time together, having patience with one another, recognizing that we have to be very intentional with how we're communicating, how we're posturing ourselves, and that intentionality is important. And, recognizing that you are bringing different energy into these interactions, whether you're always aware of it or not. And I think, at least with being able to have that time where I was out at the farm with you, that was the biggest takeaway. Like, you know, for me, listeners, my biggest thing is always holding some type of anxiousness. It may not always seem that way externally, right? But the animals can sense, they can recognize. And I was working with Rhonda and I was just trying to brush the coat on one of her beautiful horses. And every time I got ready to wax on, wax off, as she was trying to instruct me, the horse was taking steps away. And I was like, okay, am I to go with you? Do I need to stay still, pull back? And one of the things that I really, really instruct my clients to do, I had to do, which was take a breath. I had to ground myself in that moment, no matter who was around, how that how that was happening. You have to be cognizant of the energy that you're bringing. And in a peaceful place as that farm, I definitely will co-sign here for you guys. If this is something that you're like, I need to just disconnect, I need to just ground myself, I need to work on my breathing, I need to recognize what I'm bringing into spaces. Go out there, have a session, reach out to Built for Mental Wellness as well. Let's let's start integrating some of the things that maybe you're learning from doing talk therapy and bridging these things with some experiential learning as well, with something that's bigger than you, right?
Thanks,
So,
Andy. I love your story. Thank you so much. And your smile right now and your smile the other day was just heartwarming. And as you're saying this, I picture yourself or you and your team, you and your spouse, you and your family. Come one, come all, set them up individually, set them up separately, because when we can grow ourselves, that we make room for others to grow with us.
beautifully said. So, this is our time with Miss Rhonda in the studio. We have enjoyed having you in the studio, and I'm definitely inviting you back. This is not a one-time thing. I definitely want to continue to integrate some therapeutic principles with equine-assisted learning.
Yes, I feel like next time we should do it, and I'll have the horse, I'll stand outside and the horse and I will
Oh
talk
yeah,
to
absolutely. We're gonna get all our TikTokable moments.
you. We have a bunch,
So,
so take your
so
pick.
yeah, I know, right? So what I'm gonna do, we want to make sure that we continue to bridge this a little bit more, and this is something that can be normative in a way of stepping outside of what you're used to. So definitely working to integrate more of these things in the concepts. So do not be a stranger. You are definitely invited back to Mental Breakthrough to be able to talk more. And guys, make sure that you're looking on the website mentalbreakthrough.org to be able to get links for where to go for some of her beautiful programming and information about her, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you again for being in the studio, Rhonda.
Of course, Sandy.
So awesome. So, as our topic is coming to a close today, it's been a pleasure breaking mental pain points with you listeners. So, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Built for Mental Wellness, and today's guest, Rhonda Cimorelli. As always, I want to thank my listeners because without you, there isn't a mental breakthrough. So, I'm so grateful to have you continuing to tune in every Friday at noon for new episodes of the Mental Breakthrough Show, where I'm your host, Zandy Evans, licensed marriage and family therapist. Now, if you want to be a guest on the show or want to advertise, make sure you're giving me a call at 919 709-7294 or going to the website mentalbreakthrough.org and clicking on advertising. Listeners, continue to like and follow my Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok pages at the handle Mental Breakthrough Talk. And also subscribe to Mental Breakthrough Talk channel by hitting that YouTube subscribe button. Now, listeners, it's been wonderful having this moment with you, but all good things must take a rest. So have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you guys next week. So until then, continue to be blessed and break your pain points with some breakthrough talk.